Good morning. My name is Robin Pollack, and I'm a North Fulton Master Gardener. We have been teaching classes here at Chastain since 2014. But with these uncertain times and crazy events, we are bringing you live on Facebook our first virtual spring vegetable gardening class. Many people have asked, I want to plant a victory garden. What is a victory garden? Now more than ever, growing your own vegetables is very important. You can plant a victory garden with all your favorite vegetables, including fruits, berries, herbs, and many more. In our history, communities have come together during difficult times, especially during World War I and World War II, to supply more food and boost morale. And basically, that is the nature of a victory garden. We as citizens want to help, and the best way we can help is to stay busy, plant a garden, and have a lot of positive attitude. So today we are going to get started on how do you grow a vegetable garden. If you notice in front of me, I have a sign that will tell you what we're going to cover today. In addition, I have lots of healthy vegetables that we will be planting. So let's get started. There's nothing quite like a vegetable garden to supply you and your family all the wonderful foods and nutritious vegetables that you like to eat. When space is limited, and many of you live in apartments or condos or small houses with small lots, you can still provide plenty of food for your family with just a few small plants that will produce a lot of food. So what do we need to get started? The first thing we need to be concerned about is the site. Try to select a site that gets at least 8 to 10 hours of sun a day. Vegetables thrive in sunny weather. So if you do not have 6 to 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours of sun a day, try and find another location. Also, I like to select a location that's conveniently located near the house and a good water supply. The soil should have good texture and be well drained. Avoid sites that have a history of hard to control weeds or roots, and you will have a successful garden. So, 8 hours of sun a day, near the house, and close to water will be the recipe for a successful site. Next, we need to make a plan. Plan out your garden on paper first. I know that's very difficult, but in the end, it's easier to change the paper than it is to move plants around. Also, select crops that you like to eat. People always ask, what should I plant? If your family does not like eggplant, don't plant any. But if you like tomatoes, you may want to plant more than one variety. Plan also to use the space continually by planting all growing plants on the north or the west side of your garden so they will not shade out the shorter growing plants. Make a map and keep it current so that the vegetables can be rotated within the garden from year to year. Remember to plan for space between your rows so that you can walk down your rows and or cultivate your soil to remove the weeds. What varieties? What kind of plant should I plant? Be sure and select recommended varieties for your main plantings. Many other varieties are available, and if you would like to try a few of the new ones, please feel free to do so. But I usually recommend that we try planting the tried and true varieties that will give you months of yummy vegetables. Varieties are listed in the vegetable planting chart, and I will be giving you some of the University of Georgia County Extension Agency's websites and the bulletins that supply these needs. Always buy good quality plants. Do not scrimp when it comes to determining the health of the plant. Investigate it thoroughly before you put it in your garden. Check the underneath side of the leaves and the tops of the leaves to see if there are any holes in them where bugs may have gotten in, or disease on the underneath side of the leaves. Don't buy those plants. Wait until healthy ones come to your store, and that is what I would recommend buying. When buying plants, remember, buy fresh, stocky plants that are free of disease and insects. Next, we're going to talk about fertilizer and lime. What is fertilizer used for? Why do we need it? Well, first of all, fertilizer provides the nutrients in the soil to grow healthy vegetables. But it's very important to run a soil sample. What is a soil sample? A soil sample is run by your county extension agency. I'm holding up a bag that we have at the county extension office at the North Fulton Annex, and it is a collection bag for your soil. Usually we do it several months before planting to know what nutrients your soil is lacking in. If the pH is too low, acidic, then we might need to apply lime and other nutrients to bring the soil up to its necessary pH to grow vegetables. A pH of 6 to 6.5 is recommended for most vegetables, except Irish potatoes, which only need a pH of 5.0 to 6.0. All others prefer 6 to 6.5 pH. So please, we have instructions with the bags. You collect samples from 7 different places in your garden. Lay them out on a white piece of paper. Let them dry overnight. Mix them together. Put them in one of these bags and send them in to the county extension. I think the cost now is $15. But that $15 will ensure that you have the correct nutrients in your soil to grow the most healthy vegetables. So, apply the fertilizer according to soil test results. Most vegetables need initial fertilizing, and then at planting time, and then a few months later, when the vegetables have begun to mature. Some vegetables, such as corn, need side dressing, which is where you put them on either side of the row of corn once the corn has reached about knee height. So let's all get our soil samples taken, and hopefully you will have a healthy garden. Now, soil prep. We need to have healthy soil. It's good to start soil prep in the fall by chopping leaf litter and spading or turning deeply to bury the litter. You can add other organic matter such as compost, leaf mold, and well-rotted manure or sawdust. These will ensure that the proper nutrients have been given back to the garden. Next, we've prepared the soil, we've gotten a site, we've made a plan, we've picked great varieties such as I have up here, and now we are ready to plant the garden. Information on planting, dates, and spacing is given in the planting chart. Several vegetables can successfully be planted to lengthen the harvest time once one plant has expired. Now that we've planted our plants, and you can see the beds to my left have healthy vegetables planted in them, and they are beginning to grow. It is important to cultivate or hoe the garden as often as needed to control the weeds and unnecessary, unwanted grasses. Don't cultivate too deeply or hoe, because you could disturb the roots and injure them. Cultivating too often will also result in the soil drying out too much. But weeds and grasses compete for nutrients with the vegetables, so it is best to carefully and daily inspect your garden and get rid of the weeds and grasses. Now that you've cultivated your garden and kept all the weeds down, we need to mulch it. A mulch of straw, leaves, compost, or pine straw will help conserve water and control weeds and reduce the need for hoeing and cultivating. Apply enough mulch to have 2 to 4 inches when watered after it's settled. You could also lay 2 or 3 sheets of newspaper down around your plants, which will also keep the weeds out and conserve moisture. And then I like to apply 3 inches of mulch on top of it, on top of the paper or compost or mulch. Watering is the next important step in our preparing the garden, and water is very important. We like to have it near the house so it's convenient. Water the garden as often as needed to maintain a uniform moisture supply. In the absence of a good rain, and in the summer, as you know, we often have afternoon showers, that should be enough. But when we do get into those drought conditions, it's important that your garden gets about an inch to an inch and a half of rain or water a week. So it is always better to water deeply in the morning to allow the heat of the day to dry the leaves. Damp leaves often lead to disease and insects. So it is either best to water early in the morning or late at night. And you will be better if you can put in sprinkler hoses or a drip hose, because vegetables do not like to have their leaves get wet. This too will keep down the insects and the disease. So let's talk about some of these insects and diseases. Serious losses of your garden can come from insect diseases and nematodes. If nematodes are present, which are little bugs on the root knots, then control measures must be taken to amend the soil before any crop is planted. Preventive control can be used for insects and disease, or can be started as soon as you see a problem. Contact your local county extension agency for pest identification and recommended control measures. If you're going to use fertilizer, our garden here at Farm Chastain is all organic. We use insecticidal soap, neem oil, and just good old looking with our eyes and picking bugs off if necessary. And you will have certain plants that have more bugs than others, but be vigilant, be diligent, have a glass of wine or a mocktail to go out in the garden and inspect every night and every day. And finally, you've taken all these wonderful measures and you are now ready to harvest your wonderful vegetable garden. I would like you to note that you need to harvest it as soon as the vegetables are ripe. Leaving the vegetables on the vine too long will lead to disease and insect problems and will cause crops such as beans and okra, squash and cucumbers to become over mature and get very sinewy, and also they may terminate, which means stop producing. Any surplus production should be canned or frozen as soon as possible after harvesting. Canning and freezing information is also available at your local county extension office. And I would like you to enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy being outside, have a positive attitude, and happy gardening. Thank you.